Hey everybody, how you doing today? I have here the American Palladium Proof, the reverse proof coin, and it's still available for sale. And I wanted to do a video summary as to why the price, look at this, 1987, why is it so high, right? So if you go to APMEX right now, you see the prices for the metals here. It's been going up and down, kind of weird, but gold is 1500, a little past that. Silver is trying to rally back again, and palladium is at 1609. I seen this flirt with the 1590 something, so like it's going back and forth. But palladium is still higher than gold, right? So the question is, why is palladium, going so much higher than all the other metals, right? So I'm like, okay, let me kind of backtrack. I recall having conversations with many of the Hangout people back in like 2013. That's like 6 years ago. That's when a lot of the community people on YouTube, with the coins and all, silver, gold, were trying to, get in on these Hangouts and talk about what's going on with metals, right? So here's an intraday price of palladium on January 1st of 2013, and the price is around $702, right? And now it's over $2,000 for most of the nice coins here. This is a listing of 2017 Palladium Eagle, and I put minus proof and minus reverse, so I don't want those coins, right? It's like a negative qualifier. So 2017 Palladium Eagle, it'll show you a listing of the BU coins that came out in 2017, and most people didn't buy it because they didn't think it would be a limited mintage of 15,000. Usually BU coins, they make a lot of them, right? But they didn't, probably because they didn't have enough to make, and eventually settled at 15,000 per for that year, for 2017. And so they didn't make any more, even though we assumed they were going to make more, so that they can sell more to the dealers and make a profit, right? And these were going for around $1,000 at the time, maybe a little bit more. I'm not exactly sure, but if my recollection is correct, it was around $1,000. We could have bought these Palladium BU coins for about $1,000 and just held on to them, and now we would be up $600 each on the coins. And if you decide to get the graded ones, they're going for about $2,300. Some are a little bit more, some are less. It just depends on what kind of label you like, but it's very hard to find a raw one, right? And the raw one here sold for $1889.94, but the rest of them are graded. So here's one that's supposedly a BU coin. So you might get lucky and find some of them, but it's really not luck at all. If you're looking at the price right now, it's just way too expensive to buy these. So I went digging around looking for some articles on why palladium went up so much, and there was a couple of good articles, 2 or 3 of them, why palladium suddenly, and especially precious metal. Let's read a little bit of this here. It says, palladium is now the most valuable of the 4 major precious metals, as an acute shortage has driven prices to a record. A key component in pollution control devices for cars and trucks, the metal has surged almost 80% since mid-August, making it more expensive than gold. And I believe this article was written, end of 2018, right? They're already talking about palladium going higher, and it just kind of went out of the radar. Some people paid attention to it. I actually didn't. And so what exactly is palladium, right? It's a lustrous white metal, one of the 6 platinum group metals, along with ruthenium, rhodium, osmium, iridium, and platinum itself. About 80% of palladium ends up in the exhaust systems in cars, where it helps turn toxic pollutants into less harmful carbon dioxide and water vapor. Now, these metals that now it's ringing a bell. I think back in the day, in 2013, we used to have those hangouts like I mentioned before. I think Silver Siren bought either rhodium or palladium, and was buying it for a good price, and then flipped them for a lot more, because the gains were so awesome, right? So I just wanted to bring that memory up. And if Silver Siren's watching, correct me if I'm wrong, whether it was rhodium or palladium that you had. But getting back to this, right? It says, it is also used in electronics, dentistry, and jewelry. The metal is mined primarily in Russia and South Africa and mostly extracted as a secondary product from operations that are focused on other metals such as platinum or nickel. So the more they mine platinum or nickel, palladium, comes along with it, so to speak. So why is it getting more expensive? Supply hasn't responded to growing demand. Usage is increasing as governments, especially China's something, I don't know what this is here, tighten regulations to crack down on pollution from vehicles, forcing car makers to increase the amount of precious metal they use. In Europe, consumers bought fewer diesel vehicles, which mostly use platinum, and instead chose gasoline-powered vehicles, which use palladium, following revelations that makers of diesel cars cheated on emissions tests. Yeah, I heard something about that, and Volkswagen had to give back everybody's money for those who bought diesel-powered cars. So yeah, that I do remember a while back, right? So here's a chart on precious metals for palladium versus gold, where gold is gray and it's consistently rising higher, but look at the way palladium has gone up over the years, the past few years. It's done quite well, right? And if they wanted to extend it to 2019, around now, it would be past this $1,600 mark. So why is supply so tight? Palladium's status as a byproduct of platinum or nickel mining means output tends to lag price gains. In fact, the amount produced is projected to fall short of demand for the 8th straight year in 2019. That's helped drive prices to successive records. While some obscure metals are still more valuable, palladium topped gold in December for the first time since early 2000s. Growing shortage. Palladium has been in deficit since 2012. So yeah, we just don't have enough of them, and are speculators driving up the price. Partly since August, hedge funds have increased bets that prices will rise, yet palladium for immediate delivery trades at a premium to material for delivery later, suggesting manufacturers are scrambling for supply, and palladium-backed exchange-traded funds have seen outflows as investors withdraw metal, then lease it to users at lucrative rates. There's also anecdotal evidence of stockpile in China, the biggest buyer in the automotive sector. And I think that is the main reason why it's going up. China's demand for palladium with their automotive, production of the cars, especially, with the pollution that they emit over there. They're trying to change that, right, and make the cars have better emissions, right? So who are the winners and losers? While Russia's SC Norilsk Nickel PJSC is the biggest palladium producer, the rally is especially good news for South Africa's platinum miners, who dig it up alongside their primary metal and are dealing with platinum prices hovering near decade lows. On the other hand, car makers are having to pay more for the metal and may eventually pass the increase on to consumers. Is palladium usually this volatile? Yes, and not just palladium. Precious metals used in small quantities by the auto industry have a history of price spikes when demand outstrips supply. In the decade following 1998, platinum soared more than 500% as a shortage caught the attention of speculative buyers. Rhodium rallied more than 4,000% over a similar period before car makers found ways to use less. Palladium itself jumped ninefold from its lows in 1996 to a peak in 2001 as users worried Russian sales would slow. Can automakers use an alternative? Yeah, so they go up and down, and the volatility is there because eventually they're going to find another way of dealing with whatever they have to do with the emissions or what have you, right? So it's true that the palladium rise is relative to platinum, Might prompt some car makers to work on some substitution. However, it's uncertain when a switch will happen. Research into the use of platinum shows that technological advances are needed before it can match the performance of existing palladium-based catalytic converters, according to Johnson Matthey PLC, which makes the devices. Analysts have said it could take up to 18 months to incorporate a switch, and the likes of Daimler AG are more focused on electrification and batteries than a metal that represents a relatively small part of costs. So, they're talking about, the electric cars here now going forward. Where do electric cars fit into the picture? Electric cars don't burn fuel, don't have exhaust pipes, and don't use palladium. Still, most analysts believe the electrification of the majority of the world's automotive fleet is many years in the future. In the meantime, palladium's use in hybrid vehicles is also a growing source of demand. So that's the entire article for this. And there's a couple of other ones. This is an article by Seeking Alpha. This is a website that does a lot of stocks, and people write blogs and interesting articles about certain investments. And they have this guy here, Robert Kientz, wrote some really interesting stuff too. And I'll leave a link down below for each of these articles. He's showing you what palladium is used for automotive, for industrial, jewelry, and investment. So investment being the least out of all of them, right? And then growing up and slowing down. So sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. This is more about Chinese cars sales. Going down from back in the day and going into this year. So there was some other interesting images that this one had. Yeah, they're talking about the Chinese emissions, right? And yeah, they even go as far as, talking about the actual engine, the catalytic converter, why palladium is necessary to build these kinds of stuff, right? So that's what I have for you for today. I just wanted to cover, here's another article here about palladium here, palladium's performance. Can it go any higher than this, right? And this is a more recent article, June 19th, saying, we have gone up. I won't really get into the nitty-gritty on this one here, but where are we going to go going forward with palladium? Because based on the prices, it just kind of ruined this coin. It's still available, and it's 30,000 mintage. Somebody wrote in my YouTube video, in one of the videos, saying that a third of the coins have sold and there's still plenty of supply, I guess, right? So if they had made it 15,000 or even less, 10,000, then it might have worked a little better. But the initial price at $2,000 for a coin, that makes it hard for coin collectors to buy, right? And based on this, what's happened with this coin, if gold goes to like $2,000-$3,000, then I think it's gonna hurt coin collectors in that respect, right? Because as much as they want to buy it, they're not going to be able to buy it, because if gold goes to $2,000-$3,000, that's a lot of money, right? So you won't be able to buy like we did before, where it's still manageable to buy. If gold is $1,200 to $1,500, still manageable. But after $1,500, I think it starts to get really hard for most people. So I will leave the relevant links down below. This is the sold prices here, and I'll also leave listing page down below as well, and the links for all these articles that I was looking through. So if you want references, you can go through that. And if you have any comments or questions about palladium and what you think is going to happen going forward, let us know down in the comments. All right. So thanks for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please hit the subscribe and notification button. And if you found the video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and I will speak to you in the next video. Thanks.